Haymakers. We are about to learn about hand shaping and pressing, which is my OG style of creating. This is my shaping tool. I'm just talking you through it, the measurements, like the things, blah, 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 blah. This is what I use to press and roll beads when I'm making beads. The other thing that I use is a graduated shape cutter set. Just needs to be circles. It can be any shape, actually. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you've just got graduated cutters so that you can measure out each size. I actually really like the little stainless steel cutters as well. I don't know why. I do. The other key tool in making hand-shaped earrings is gloves. And as horrible as they feel, they're the best. So get your glove on, all right? The other thing that is helpful, not necessary, but very helpful, is my depth guides. These are my medium depth guides, so 3mm measurement. It just helps you keep everything consistent. So yeah, it just makes it easier. You're probably going to need one of these. It's just a craft blade. This is a fancy one by my friend Clay Lady Down Under. And of course, you're going to need a selection of gorgeous colors. Now, cut to where she has written down all the shit. This was my that's my resin samples of the colorway that I really wanted to make. So let's just quickly talk through. The mustard color that I have mixed there is 1 part Primo Gold to 3 parts Primo Mustard. The purple is 2 parts Purple Pearl to 1 part Poppy Seed. You'll see as we go through the video, or do you? No, you don't. Okay, so in the live that I accidentally deleted, oops, sorry, I ended up using scraps for that peachy pink color, so I can't give you the recipe for that, sorry. The recipe that I used for the purple, which wasn't quite perfect, was 1 part Royalty to 4 parts white-ish, I think. And the orange, which is absolutely gorgeous, is 2 parts Primo Orange to 1 part Cad Red. I didn't end up using the limey green color. This is what I'm basing it off. So this is a current resin collection that I am putting together. And I just wanted to, because I was loving the colors, I was like, why can't we do it out of clay? So that's why I've utilized these colors. So the burnt orange, lilac, the deep violet, the peachy pink, and the mustard. Okay. All right. And also, I'm just digging the different textures. Now, I'm going to add some clips into what I continued making after I filmed this video because I kind of wanted to watch some TV and I didn't want to have to sit there in silence. So I've just got this scrap granite, which is just a mix of a 1-to-1 mix of white and Primo granite. And when we're doing hand shaping, the key thing is to have even, I'm going to say beads because they do start off as beads basically, but you just want to have consistency. So throw your clay through the machine to get the consistent size, or use depth guides and then use the same round. Now, like I go on about this in my bead making video on YouTube. So if you're wondering about why I do it this way, this is why. And then whatever we do to one, we do to the other. So we just try and put even amounts of clay on each bead. And I'm saying, like I say, it starts off as a bead, but then we're going to press it down. Now, the biggest tip I can give you here when you are hand shaping and pressing earrings, and you're going to see how it works as we go along, the key is having really well-conditioned warm clay. This is where using something like Cernit probably would be ideal, although it gets a little bit too squishy. You just need it to be well conditioned, that's all. So we've got our 2 even sizes. Now I am making 1 pair of earrings here, okay? But if you were to do this in bulk, you can totally batch make a whole bunch of earrings. I'm just doing 1 pair for the purpose of the video. And as you can see, what I do to one side, I do to the other. It's not going to be perfect, but just so you know, when you add something to what you've just cut out, which is even, and you add something to it, it changes the volume. So it can just happen, but you know, I run off the whole perfectly imperfect thing. So to me, I don't get too stressed about it, but just try and keep it in your subconscious, that what you do to one side, you do to the other. So if you add something here, you add something there, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, she could go on forever about this. Now, it's fine to not wear gloves while you're doing this part. So when you first roll out your beads, to adding your bits and pieces on. But when we come to pressing in, which is a part of the hand pressing, hand shaping, when we come to press in the details, get your gloves on, because otherwise it's going to color transfer onto your hands. It's going to become a shitstorm. Okay, it's going to become a shitstorm. Can we have a moment for this color mix? Now, I am expecting, as always, for you to take the colors down your own path. So I would hate to see a whole bunch of these beautiful hand-shaped earrings coming out in the same colors as what I'm currently making, because I'm sharing with you right now what I'm actually color mixing and what I'm actually making and potentially selling. So just keep in mind, do your own colors, keep it fresh, keep it you, keep it authentic, and we'll be okay. So she's just rolling. And then all that beautiful pattern is squished in. Now, you can 100% do shapes, you can cut shapes, you can put little dashes on there, all sorts of things. But what you got to remember is that you are actually going to hand shape it, press it, and squash it down. So it may change the idea you had or the design you had in your head. So this takes a lot of practice, figuring out when to put color on, when to put pattern on, how you can do it. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm going to end up reworking this one, I think. But what I'm doing is just sort of squashing it a little bit so that I've got the color and the pattern in the right place when I squish it down. So I re-roll this one because I wasn't 100% happy with it, which then sort of turns into, oh no, she's got it. Now, obviously, these are super cute beads, and you could make beads for necklaces. However, we are making earrings. We're making components. So, okay, yes. Oh, I actually can't get enough of this color. I actually went deep after this video. So, I filmed this, and then, as I will show you, which you will see at the end of the video, I made a whole lot of other things. I did a whole lot of other stuff to it. So, I'm very excited to share that with you as well. But, yes, so before I'm pressing on this one, I'm just trying to get it into the shape that I'm kind of after, which I think is going to be like a teardrop shape. And that's where I go with it. So you don't have to do this. You can kind of do it afterwards. But again, that's a very cute bead. So then we're going to grab our guides, I think. Yes. Yeah, there we go. And you can do one bead at a time, or you can do them both at the same time. You can do whatever you like. Like I said, the key is make sure that they are nice and warmed up, like as in like the beads are warmed up, not the guides. And so we're just squishing and we're pressing down until we can feel the guides, which can be a little bit difficult, can take a little bit of your muscle power. And there we go. We can just peel him off easily. If you have cracking down your edge, that is purely because the clay needed to be conditioned more. It can be a little bit frustrating, but you can get rid of it by, I would preferably take my gloves off and rub the edge just to sort of, see that? Just slight cracking. Now that can be air bubbles, or it can just be the fact that the clay needed to be a bit warmer, and you can just rub over the edge. The great thing with hand shaping is that you're doing literally that. You can just manipulate the clay to work for you. So we just try to be careful. We want things to be kind of even. And a lot of this is about a lot of the shaping of these is about going by your eye. So you're not going to you don't have a shape cutter to cut you out of shape, is what I'm trying to say. You have to make the shape with your hands. And I think of all the things that you can do with polymer clay, one of the most relaxing and cathartic ways to work with clay is hand pressing and shaping earrings like this, because it's just really relaxing. I really enjoy it. This is how I started. This is why I started. But also, what's even better is you do not have to sand them after you finish making them. So these will go straight in the oven and they do not need sanding. Now, you can also use the pressing tool or you can roll. What you've got to remember when you roll is that you are going to elongate or stretch it. Whereas when you press, you kind of just like, it puts pressure on the entire piece where it goes out a bit evenly. So you can use both methods. You can roll or you can just press, and you don't have to use the guides like I said, but it does help you keep them nice and even. So then all I'm doing now is like weirdly rubbing them. And I'm just going to go around the edges and smooth them. Where did I go? What have I done? Where have I gone? Okay, she's gone. Oh, she's back. Oh, she took her gloves off. I was like, where did you go, babe? Where'd you go? Okay, so there we've got two very cute components. Hello. Yes. And like I say, chuck them on a tile and bake, and that is it, done. So aside from smoothing the edges a little bit, you don't need to do any sanding after you cure. And if you're super smart, you could also put the holes in before you cure, so you don't even have to drill afterwards either. Now, I decided to take it super old school and do some texture with a needle tool, and I wanted to show you how you can get 4 different textures using one tool. So this is what I like to call almost like a paint effect. It's just doing well, you can see what I'm doing. Then we've got a dash. Cute, you can't really see it, but that's fine. Oh, there we go, you can see it. Some dots, and also what I like to call ribbed for her pleasure. No, that's awkward. Okay, that's what she said. Anyway, kind of like stripes, but it's kind of like ribbed, but we'll go with stripes. Okay, moving on before this gets super weird and awkward. These are finished, and they end up being the tops for what I'm going to make next, which I kind of have to explain because I didn't start videoing until I was halfway through. So we have started off with beads again, round beads, and then I've just rolled them into snakes, cut off the end, and you can see what I'm doing here. I'm curving it over, and then I'm going to use the piece that I cut off as the center bit, and it's kind of going to make a fun, now look, it looks kind of like a blossomy, organic, flowery shape, but you'll see. We'll just have to trust the process here. I promise you it looks way better as we move through the process. So on the outside of these, I'm going to pop some of the Serpent Sparkle, which is the super deep violet color. Another color that you really have to try at least once. It is such a good color. It is in the Pearl Goodness color recipe set that you get for free in Patreon. So if you scroll back, if you're new here, you actually get that whole color recipe collection for free. And this is one of the colors that I've already shared it, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, 2 parts purple pearl to 1 part poppy seed. Like I say, trust the process. It looks like it's not going to be a nice color until you get to the end, and you need to mix a little bit more than you usually would, so just to get all the micas moving through it. So I'm just kind of going on the effect that we saw in the beginning with the lilac colored resin components that had the little purple dots. I kind of wanted to try and mimic that effect a little bit by adding these on like this. So that was kind of the vision I had going. And also, I didn't want to feel restricted to doing round shapes when it comes to hand pressed pieces. I wanted to be able to do something different, and this is the first time I've tried it. So this took a little bit of finessing, for lack of a better word, and I kind of just had to sort of just see how I went. So I did a little bit of rolling, a little bit of pressing, and the main thing was making sure that those lines where I had joined them were gone. So you can see on the back there's still a little bit, so I do go over it and just sort of blend it in with my finger very gently before I go right down to the 3mm depth. So if you're wondering why I'm poking at it and jabbing at it, that's what I'm doing. So just blending them, picking them up carefully, making sure that I don't overhandle them, so that I can keep the nice sort of shape and things like that. But I'll tell you what I'm loving right now, and I've got my hand in that weird shape, where you're I'll tell you what I'm loving right now is I'm just loving how organic they are and how different they are. In retrospect, with both of these earrings, for what I decide to do with them, I would have gone smaller. So these are definitely on the statement scale in terms of, well, these are like prototypes, like practice runs, right? So I'm okay with it. But if this had been on a smaller scale, I think it would have been even better. Now, the satisfaction you're going to get knowing that you've made this without a shape cutter, it's actually quite remarkable. You will be surprised at how good it feels. And like I was saying to you, this is a very cathartic process. It's very relaxing. It's enjoyable. And the fact that you've made something without a shape cutter, yes, I know that you could put this on a slab and cut it out within 2 seconds. But the feeling of creating something this organic and natural with this product is amazing, especially in this current market being so saturated with shape cutter shapes that are all the same shape. So I think just finding something really organic and hand shaped is a real point of difference. And not gonna lie, I'm making a full collection. Well, not so much a collection, but I'm just really enjoying experimenting with it again. So sorry if you can hear Poppy in the background. It is what it is. She's just trying to get a voiceover done while her child is awake on the iPad. So we have like, how long is this video? It's going to be about 24 minutes. I have 24 minutes to get it done. So loving this. And I decide that I think that I need to add some little stems, you know, some little like blossom stems. So I grab a little bit of this gorgeous burnt orange and the little micro cutter that I showed you earlier in the video. And that just gives us a small, even size so that we can make some little cute stems on the blossoms. So I don't know, in my head, I just feel like these are like little hanging flowers or something. And yeah, it's cute tops. Now, I had to speed this up because the time I was taking to literally make these shapes was ridiculous. And I think I just got into my chilled slow-mo sort of vibe. And yeah, anyway, so moving on from that, I just figured this would look really cute hanging from a jump ring. And what I'm going to do now is grab my guides and basically roll over this to just get it all one. You don't have to do that, but you can see here I've just rolled over the top of those just to sort of get them all to the same depth and just makes them look a little bit cleaner and even. You could leave it exactly how it was too, and that would be absolutely fine. Then I decide, I feel like it needs some little tiny like stamens or like the little yellow dots on there. I just needed another texture on the little orange pieces. So I grab a tiny bit of the mustard and just pop like 3 little dots on each one. Obviously we're doing this at a snail pace. So yeah. Again, if you wanted to make these in batches, you could do this really easily by just doing like a whole bunch at a time and just having them in a row. And you would honestly get so fast at it. But I think also the beautiful thing about these earrings is just how one-off they are. Like every single color has been placed in a different sort of, I mean, it's like slab work as well, but it's even more so because they've been hand-shaped. So I don't know, like... like I said, the time I'm taking here is really, it's triggering me. It's feeling very slow. I want to speed it up. But I think patience is a virtue. It's good to relax. It's good to calm down. Calm your farm, Cherie. But like I said, I'm going to pop in some footage at the end here and talk you through what I ended up making. Oh, that actually looks so cute. Okay, so jumping forward, although I'm really happy with how these turned out, they definitely evolve in the next video that you're about to see, like in a second. So I just want to share with you, like after I finished filming this and I was sitting with them for a few minutes, this is what happened. I'm going to run through what I did. So I added a sandpaper texture. This is 80 grit sandpaper on the purple blossom component. Then down here, I basically rolled out a little snake and pressed her down. And she ended up being all twisty, twirly, wobbly. And so I'm excited to see how they come out. Then I thought I'd try like a little hoop style, adding that stripe texture again. And over here, I felt like those sort of 3-drop components at the bottom needed something really drastically. So they got some texture using the sandpaper and also using the needle tool and a ball tool there with the orange pieces. And over here, I kind of did the same thing as this one, but I made her wiggly instead of wobbly. Anyway, these colors were fantastic. Like I said before, make sure that if you're trying this out to use your own inspiration, your own colors. Obviously, you can use those color recipes if you want to. Maybe just don't do them in the same combination as I have, because otherwise, I mean, that just wouldn't be very fun for me. So I've really enjoyed making this video with you. I hope you have enjoyed seeing something new and having the opportunity to give something different a go, because I know not many of you do this, so I would love to see you do something different. Even if you just have a go at it, you don't need to sell them, just make them for fun. What I often refer to as mindlessly making. So obviously we prefer to mindfully make, but sometimes it's good to sit there with a bunch of scrap clay or some fresh clay, whatever you want, a fresh colorway, and just mindlessly create for yourself. So with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.